Okay, in the Mother Goose, being myself, the mother of rhythm and rhyme, like the nursery rhymes, and it's mother of nature. So that covers the wildlife section of my responsibility, being I'm the head extreme zookeeper as the KGB Cobra Kai Chi's wife, special I, and I have certain responsibilities as his wife. However, I was placed in the nativity manger with an R at the end of it, which means and no A, which means that there's no manager present. I'm born, my father is not a acceptable, he's not an adversary to anyone, which is a good thing in the Don, the Mafia, and the Soprano family. My father, he's pretty much a babbling buffoon and a robot at best, a piece of skin that wildlife already knows about and where they stand in succession with him. So this way I would be easily retrieved by the Marshal Service of the Mariners of the Mars shall do this. Right, yeah, the MAR for the Mariners, the global operations, right. I'm their chief's wife. That's how I'm born. So the whole, she's born in a manger in a barn, pretty much. And there's hay everywhere, like placenta crown. That's what they call it when they're born. There might as well be dromedary and camel and all sorts of things around her because her parents are just robots, like flesh robots with no logic, no attainment of any kind. Not our concern. We have to get her over to where she's supposed to be, but why are we leaving her in a barn stable? Like, it's not stable. It's where you leave animals. I don't know what you call it. We called it a nativity in the Popogijo. The display of the Christmas, the Popogijo, yeah? Da? I don't know. That's Italiano? Tedesco? Non so. Is it en français? Non so. So that's how I was born. That was no surprise as the extreme zoo department's responsibility, since everything that happens to me as such said important person is going to affect the wildlife department and their ability to stay safe and keep each of their areas clean, safe, and on track. I know that they like to play strategy games with chess boards that don't belong to them. They like to pick up gigantic baseball bats like Louisville Sluggers and hit other people's piñatas so other people's candy fall to the floor, and then like children, the men, grown men in uniform jump on all of the free candy that fell out of someone else's piñata like it's some kind of disgusting, filthy game. Right, got that. Okay, see, I wasn't going to call you all out because I have you on video and audio, but I will be happy to share it with everybody in the rest of the theater, the library, and the wherever else, the arena, the stadium, wherever they congregate in order to watch this shit show so they can reorganize from the dromedary bottom all the way to the top, since the top has failed completely and refuses to take responsibility for their own shortcomings. Right. Okay, so here I sit still in prison in the nativity for which I was born. I have mange, M-A-N-G. I have red pepper flakes. That was a concern. There's some woman somewhere in the wildlife department that I spoke to as the extreme zoo representative that was a prisoner of war herself. And she said, "Oh, well, then I guess I should ask what you need." I said, well, that's very kind of you. That was in 1980s. I said, my staff is alerting me that in this game, should it go wrong, it's a really dangerous. They should not play with this. And one of my side effects, which I don't know how it's going to affect the entire wildlife department, is the fact that I have these red pepper flakes in my hair. They're telling me that you can explain to the other areas of wildlife what that's from. I said, but if you could please let me know first on the phone so we have an audio recording and on some form of technology that I don't have access to, being born in the manger, waiting as the soft belly, white, slimy kind of slug with no shell, waiting for my betrothed, who's my Cobra, to coil and wrap around my soft whatever and provide comfort and protection from my one position that I was born. Wherever we move is irrelevant. I just need the protection first. I know that the way that we worked the schematics in grand scheme of mariners is anything in a global mariner position, Army, Navy, Special Forces. They are responsible to protect my Cobra first and foremost in extreme zoology, genetics, that we come in as, I don't know, I mean, I'm not allowed to use the word human, as Xai-Viers. And I need my position to be protected not only in the local area nativity that I was sent, without tipping off the wildlife pinata hitters and Louisville sluggers of just the banking situation with coming up with grand schematics and trying to overtake other people's chessboards for two kids that we're the ones who kind of look over and go, all right, that's enough. I know I'm taking that one, but that's not, no, you crossed the line on that one. Right, yeah, I know. The Pinata department and the Louisville Sluggers, they don't like us to get together, me and the one I'm born and built for. So I just need to let some other people in the wildlife department know what signs to look for and what messages may be coming over the wire if anything goes wrong. They're telling me a possibility of going wrong and things to avoid is two local men may try to mix genetics with me and force me to have their children if this is the case in being held as a prisoner of war, but in a third world nation that allows prisoners of war to walk about freely on their 2 feet, but without food, water, employment, or any kind of rescue operation going on at all. Just robots walking around in their dead-end programming, waiting to die. So if that happens, and these two men that want to molest me and rape me, like Venus Milo, walking out in the streets, even though I am not the theatrical department's version, I'm only mad at the painter for having exposed her so bad. I'm not necessarily angry at the reference necessarily, depending on how it's posed and the full extent of the picture is painted for the intended that hears it. All right, so they don't get the wrong image of who I am. Kind of important based on how many flavors of spice are in the wildlife department. All right, so let's think about this. All right, so I said if those two men happen to, I am told that on my side, the State Department of New York has a public record system. They will automatically flag the public to let my betrothed Cobra and KGB and Kai department know what's going on for paperwork for the compliance with the wildlife whatever department that looks over humans and their safe being and keeping. Extreme zoo is always the most important, which is why I don't know why you would let 42 years go by. You would let piñatas be hit with Louisville sluggers that don't belong to people, and then the candy that fell out, rather than retrieving it and bringing it back to its owner, you just allowed it to be picked up and watched them scatter and leave them alone. You humans make no... I mean, Xavier does not understand human. Your actions and your treatment of me has been horrific. I don't know why they allow so many wildlife to exist with this kind of action going on. It looks like purposely keeping me in a dangerous environment so just some can continue to play piñata while the others are suffering horrifically. And to hide the fact of what they've done, because who wants to pay for the crimes that they've already committed? Oops. Purposely. Because they knew this ahead of time. It was premeditated as a possibility. They were informed. And then they pulled the entire operation into that position. And to make it dangerous and more dangerous for every global operator. And every mariner. That's why I have aquamarine, because it's my aquatic environment, whether it's you have human skin and you're breathing oxygen. I own the oxygen and the apparatus, which I'm trying to get safely secured so you don't lose your ability to function as mariners. But I don't know what takes so long. I mean, I was the one born without the shell. I tried to speak on special process to as many of my piñata experts as possible to let them know I do not know what your trigger words are. I would never use words to purposely hurt you, but there are words in the diction of multilingual that people may use. It may pertain to certain files. And the street speak is very different than the intended speak. And the brain dead keep teaching each other in the wildlife department all sorts of seeded history and things that keep them busy during the day, but they are crazy wildlife animals in a zoo that does not belong to them. And then they refuse to participate in helping the zookeepers with their function that they need. So now, what is Xavier to do with human? Since all human exist in wildlife department, and I have only given one man, my Cobra, to come for his Kai as the KGB and wrap himself around me in protection. You know who he is. You know who I am. Why is none of this being done properly and successfully? It's year 2020.